cool off with a chilling tale on this week's Got Manga Viz Summer Reading Book Club. My name is Michelle Wynn Bradley, and I am terrified of this week's title, but like, in a good way, I promise. Let's talk through our fears so that you can be ready to take on the official reading guides provided by Pop Culture Classroom. This week's title is Uzumaki. Uzumaki is written and illustrated by Junji Ito, the most famous name in horror writing in Japan. Uzumaki, meaning spiral in Japanese, tells the tale of a small seaside town called Kurozocho, which is cursed by spirals. This psychological horror story is told through the eyes of a local high school student, Kirie Goshima. Spirals become increasingly malicious through each chapter, spreading throughout the town like an infection and leaving destruction and death in their wake. On each page, Junji Ito skillfully weaves together dark humor, character development, and a sense of impending dread to tell a story that is a must-read for horror fans. This book contains images of graphic violence and brief nudity, recommended for ages 16 and up. Translation? This book is scary and rated F for frickin' horrifying. This is not for children. Look at me, I'm an adult and this messed me up hardcore. I'm not even lying. This is a warning. Oh, cool. You still in after all that? Nice. The Uzumaki Official Reading Club Guide is located in the link below, so click on it if you dare, and make sure to gather your friends together who love a spooky time to create your very own Viz Summer Reading Book Club. From here on in, there will be spoilers! You have been warned, like, kind of a lot. So if you are ready, come with me into the land of terror with Uzumaki. Junji Ito carefully crafts stories in a way that bores into your thoughts and makes you think about what you've just witnessed for a long time afterwards. It's horror of the body, of people's actions, the true nature of humanity, and the terror of a fate you cannot change. Junji Ito focuses many of the chapters in Uzumaki on the psychology behind obsession and the deterioration that it causes, not only to the characters, but the town of Kurozocho itself. Obsession is like a spiral, drawing you in slowly until it's too late to escape. Chapters 1 and 2 take a look at Shuichi's father, who has become so obsessed with spirals that he ends up killing himself in order to make himself into a spiral. Then we see Shuichi's mother becoming so scared of spirals that she dies in her attempt to remove all the spirals from her body, even the ones inside of her ear. This descent into madness and dangerous behavior comes from focusing on something that exists all over the world. So if you look for them, you'll always find them. If you try to get rid of them, you can never do that because they will never go away. They exist everywhere and it's maddening. Chapter 3, The Scar, shows popular student Azami, who is herself a spiral, with boys becoming obsessed with her. Shuichi notices right away, saying on page 87, looking at her is like looking down from a high place, like vertigo. But she herself is drawn into the spiral of obsession, wanting Shuichi's attention so badly that her scar expands and becomes a vortex, and sucks her in. Oh, and another kid. Kirie's father likewise becomes consumed with his obsession, but in this case, the subject of the obsession is his own grotesque spiral pottery, which we see in chapter 4, The Firing Effect. The pottery itself becomes its own evil spiral because it's made from the clay from Dragonfly Pond, which is totally full of dead people. Oh my god, why? So Kirie's father is obsessively creating art at the price of other people's suffering. You can hear them screaming at night as they are being burned up in his kiln. Uzumaki is a story of the danger of obsession and how it can twist your mind and make it deteriorate into madness. Curiosity is also another vehicle of destruction in Uzumaki. In chapter 9, The Lighthouse, the clear proof that the lighthouse itself is dangerous does not deter people from wanting to know more about it. Curiosity will lead you into a spiral, a mesmerizing path that draws you into its terrible center without you even realizing it until it's way too late. Kirie's brother Mitsu and his friends decide to run right into the lighthouse to satiate their curiosity, despite the clear signs that it is very bad for them, and then they are literally burned up by their curiosity and search for knowledge. The theme of complacency shows what happens when you accept the monotony of life with no desire to change what's around you. Being complacent leads to the inability to accept change, tragedy, and the unknown. The townspeople show time and again that they are hard-pressed to accept change and the reality of the terror of the town. In chapter 11, The Umbilical Cord, after Kirie escapes from the deadly hospital, there is a scene where the patients are so obsessed with the mushrooms that they don't notice that Keiko is coming to kill them. This inability to see past simple pleasures is deadly. Likewise, the babies are extra cute, so they couldn't be evil, right? Well, of course they were, because they made the doctor obsessed with them, and then they made him put Keiko's baby back inside of her. It was so scary, and I can still see that image in my brain because it's been burned in there, so thank you, Junji Ito. The spiral of the stories that lead to a gruesome end show that entrapment is inevitable for the people of this town. Even if one tries to escape their circumstance or this place, the curse of the spiral will inevitably destroy them or their dreams. Or both. In Chapter 5, Twisted Souls, we are introduced to the cursed row houses where Nishiki and Yoriko live. Although they are in love, their families are violently against each other. It seems the row houses change those who live there and make the people in them become twisted in their thoughts. We witness Nishiki and Yoriko unable to change their fate as they can't escape their families and end up twisting together, grotesquely doomed to meet the same fate. The moral, if there is one, is the dark reality that your circumstances can change you into a monster. Entrapment is echoed again in Chapter 16, Immersion, as we see the people who have escaped for shelter from the tornadoes all crowded together in the row house. The row houses have become a trap, for those who enter lose their will to leave and inevitably become too close together, never to escape again. This touches again not only on the themes of entrapment, but also of the theme of complacency in your current situation and the deterioration of one's psyche and free will. The theme of transformation in Uzumaki takes shape in terrifying ways. In a normal story, this would be like a worm turns into a beautiful butterfly, but this is a Junji Ito story, so it's more like a normal person turns into an actual nightmare. Junji Ito is pretty talented at showing body horror in his manga. Body horror shows the human body in disturbing ways, whether it's by changing the shape of the body, or the destruction of the body, or grotesque things happening to it. In Chapter 8, The Snail, slow-moving student Katayama slowly and disgustingly turns into a giant snail. At first, the reader is to believe that Katayama turned into a snail because he deserved it, or that he had snail-like inclinations before. But later, it is shown that anyone can be a victim to this transformation. And what does this transformation mean? In this case, it is the disappearance of your past self, and even the death of your soul. You still exist in the world, but your ideas and thoughts are no more. In Uzumaki, your transformation into an unknown entity, completely different than who you once were, is random, chaotic, and therefore even more terrifying because it can happen to anyone at any time. Transformation of the body can also be seen as evil. In Chapter 10, Mosquitoes, we see pregnant women who are transformed into blood-sucking monsters, taking blood secretly in the night from unsuspecting patients. This instance of transformation shows the dark price of creating human life. It can also be seen as a cautionary tale that just because something appears docile and helpless, like pregnant women or little babies, it doesn't mean that they aren't dangerous or have no capability for evil. The story of Uzumaki presents us with these grotesque transformations and then shows us the final one that the people of Kurozocho must go through to complete the story. The spiral. In Chapter 19, Completion, Kirie and Shuichi travel down to the bottom of the stairs at the center of the town's spiral. There they see all the people who had been twisted together that were hiding in the row houses, and now they have turned to stone. Shuichi and Kirie spiral together and hug, and now the spiral curse is complete, destined to repeat itself again. What a chilling way to end this tale. In conclusion, y'all should have just moved! But seriously, everything in the story is shown to be inevitable. But I do have a theory on why Kirie doesn't and can't leave. Kirie is the catalyst for this town's doom. Okay, hear me out. Every time that Kirie interacts with somebody, they end up dead, or they hurt themselves, or they disappear. Azami with a scar, doing okay until she meets Kirie and then she's introduced to Shuichi. Nishiki and Yoriko, they were sad and stuff while the parents fighting, but they don't end up spiraling into space until after they meet Kirie. Tsukino and the crazy Medusa hair. Tsukino only goes nuts and goes mad with the enemy because Kirie has the crazy hair first. Mitsuru turns into a zombie in the Jack in the Box chapter because he's obsessed with Kirie. So that's my working theory. Let me know in the comments below if you think I'm right or if I'm cuckoo, because honestly, I think it might be a little bit of both at this point. This story really messed me up. Find your friends who love horror and get an even deeper summertime chill with the official Uzumaki Reading Club guide and the link in the description below. Chock full of even more discussion questions and activity ideas. Also below are links to our previous episodes about My Hero Academia, Kumi Can't Communicate, Beastars, and Ruby. You can read Uzumaki via digital download or purchase the physical manga at viz.com. So thanks for experiencing this chilling horror story with me for today's Got Manga Viz Summer Reading Book Club. I have been your scaredy cat study buddy, Michelle and Bradley, and until next time, keep on reading and maybe keep the lights on at night. I don't know, just a suggestion.